Mojobreak's countdown of the top 10 players both on the field and in the hobby for the 2021 baseball season continues today with an outfielder who plays in Los Angeles who may go down as one of the greatest players to ever play the game of baseball. Just not that one. What's up, everybody? Cody back with you for the Mojobreak Top 10, our countdown of the 10 players who will define the season both on the field and in the trading card world. We have reached our final four, and at the number 4 spot is a guy who has already won 2 World Series, an MVP, and is on pace to have a Hall of Fame career. It would be Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. You've heard the phrase once in a generation talent probably a million times before. In fact, I've probably said it in this very video series. Well, I'm here to tell you that I lied, that there is another option other than once in a generation talent. You can have twice in a generation talent, thrice in a generation talent even. Magic had Bird, Gretzky had Lemieux, Mays, Aaron, and Clemente all played together at the same time. And if we're lucky, in 10 or 20 years, we can add Mike Trout and Mookie Betts to that list. The case for Trout is obvious, and we'll dig into him more in the future, but we're here to put some respect on Mookie Betts' name. Trout has been the de facto best player in baseball for about a decade now, but heading into 2021, there is a strong case to be made that Betts is now the best all-around player in the game of baseball. While Trout is still the more dangerous player in the batter's box, Betts has surpassed him both on the base paths and with the glove. He's been one of the most consistent players in baseball since his debut with the Red Sox back in 2014. But it's his performance since 2018 that has vaulted him to baseball's elite. Since 2018, his 157 OPS plus is 4th in all of baseball. He's 3rd in defensive WAR among outfielders. He led all of baseball in runs scored, overall wins above replacement, and World Series titles. It's hard to find a single flaw in this guy's resume, and even harder to find anything left for him to accomplish in the game of baseball. All-around hitter? Check. Threat on the base paths? Check. Jaw-dropping glove work? Check. Postseason heroics? Check. A top 25 season of all time, according to wins above replacement? Check, check, and check. It's hard to wrap your head around just how good a start Mookie Betts has had to his career. And if you're like me, you might even be a little bit surprised at just how good it's been. And it's not that I ignored his accomplishments, it's just that he happens to be playing with a guy that is also rewriting record books. And because of that, I'm not sure that his standing in the trading card world truly reflects just how special a player he is. Betts is still a hot commodity for collectors, but comparing his card prices to some of the younger stars on our list, like Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Robert, and even Jason Dominguez, Betts just doesn't command the type of respect in the hobby that he should. Granted, cards of up-and-coming stars often command prices that are not representative of their actual on-the-field output. We've talked about this before. But it bears repeating that some of the top cards of one of this generation's best players are sometimes selling for less than a kid who doesn't even have a single major league at-bat. But I think the biggest reason Betts isn't receiving the type of love in the sports card world that a player of his caliber should is the aforementioned Mike Trout, who casts a shadow over every corner of the baseball world, but especially baseball cards. He sets records every time he steps into the batter's box and every time one of his cards goes on sale, while Betts' cards just don't really come close. Yes, Mike Trout's career is basically unprecedented, no doubt about it. Plus, Betts moved from Boston to Los Angeles before last season, so he doesn't play for the team that drafted him anymore. But that hasn't stopped collectors from paying top dollar for Fernando Tatis Jr. first Bowman cards. While I won't go so far to say that Betts' most valuable cards are a bargain, when you take a deep dive into what he's accomplished over his short career so far, you do start to question if he might actually be underrated in the hobby. Since his first full season in 2015, Mookie Betts ranks top 10 among outfielders in basically every major category. That includes first in runs scored, second in hits, second in defensive WAR, and second in overall wins above replacement. But of course, look who's right ahead of him. It's our old buddy, Mike Trout, who also finds himself at or near the top of every offensive category in that same time span. But just because Betts' neighbor from down I-5 looms large on leaderboards doesn't make his career start any less remarkable. Let's try to give his first 6 seasons some historical context and see where he would rank according to wins above replacement with some of the best outfielders baseball's ever seen. Let's say Betts was playing during the same time as Joe DiMaggio's rise in the major leagues. He would actually rank second in wins above replacement to him. If he played during baseball's golden age in New York, he'd be behind only Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays. During the height of the steroid era, Betts would rank a close second behind only Barry Bonds. And speaking of Bonds, during his reign of terror from 2000 to 2005, Betts would have had the third best wins above replacement total in baseball, behind only Bonds and Alex Rodriguez. And when you consider that Betts only got to play 55 games in 2020, I think there would be a really good chance that he would rank first in the height of the steroid era and during DiMaggio's rise in the major leagues. Betts has also received an MVP vote in each of his first 6 full seasons. And while I don't have a complete list of every player who's accomplished that feat, here's just a few names that he's in the same company with. Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson, Albert Pujols, Stan Musial, Yogi Berra, Frank Robinson, Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, and, you guessed it, Mike Trout. No matter what era you compare him to, even his own era, Mookie Betts is on a Hall of Fame and all-time great trajectory right now. And with his future locked in with a perennial title contender like the Los Angeles Dodgers, there's a really good chance that he could become one of baseball's most prolific winners as well. The hobby can get so caught up valuing young stars that a 28-year-old player might as well be nearing the end of their career. But that's the prime of your career. And when you're just entering the prime of your career and you've already got an MVP award, 2 World Series titles, you've got a fantastic personality, and a 12-year contract to play for one of the most popular and successful franchises in baseball history, I'd go so far to say that there might not be a better or safer investment in the baseball card world. That'll do it for today. In our next video, we talk about our number 3 player, one of the most exciting young stars baseball has to offer, who has already joined one of the most exclusive clubs in baseball history and has got plenty of time to join an even more exclusive club. As always, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mojobreak Media for more content all throughout the Major League Baseball season and beyond.